Welcome to the weekly digital health podcast by White Coat Hackers Media. This is where biotech breakthroughs, biomedical innovation, and the future of digital health come to life. Tune in because the future of health starts here.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into three pretty interesting developments in digital health and medical innovation.
Yeah, all fresh from the White Coat Hackers updates.
Exactly. And our mission really is to pull out what really matters, understand what's new and why you should probably know about it.
Okay, we've got a new ovarian cancer treatment, some generative AI helping out in Japan, and a new way to do screening at home.
Let's get into it.
Sounds good.
Okay, first up, this is really positive news, I think, for ovarian cancer. The FDA has approved a new combo therapy from Verastem. It's for recurrent KRAS mutated ovarian cancer.
Right, and those KRAS mutations, they're notoriously tricky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this feels like a genuine step.
What are the drugs? Avutametinib and defactinib.
That's them. One's an MEA inhibitor, the other blocks adhesion kinase.
And who's it for specifically?
So this isn't for everyone. It's for adults whose cancer has that specific KRAS mutation, has come back, and they've already had systemic therapy.
Okay, so a group with maybe fewer options.
Exactly. Options have been limited. So the results, 44% response rate in the trial. That's 57 patients. That's quite promising.
44%. Wow.
Yeah. And some of those responses lasted a long time, up to, 31 months.
That's incredible. It really shows that move towards precision medicine, doesn't it? Targeting the specific genetic drivers.
Absolutely. And interestingly, they're also testing this combo in frontline metastatic pancreatic cancer.
Oh, really? So another KRAS-related cancer, does that mean this mechanism might work more broadly?
It certainly suggests it. Blocking both those pathways, MEK and adhesion kinase, well, it could be relevant wherever KRAS is sort of driving the bus,
Yeah.
driving the growth and resistance.
Makes sense. Understanding the biology leads to wider applications.
Exactly.
Okay, let's switch gears. Technology easing the load on healthcare systems. Hippocratic AI and Eucalia in Japan.
Yeah, they're bringing a Japanese language generative AI agent to the healthcare scene there, planning to launch later this year.
But crucially, it's not for diagnosis.
Yeah.
That needs to be clear, right?
Absolutely not diagnosis. Think of it more like a very efficient assistant.
Okay. What kind of tasks?
Things like booking appointments, sending out reminders for follow-ups, doing check-ins for people with chronic conditions, helping them remember to take their meds, that kind of stuff.
Stuff that takes up a lot of time but doesn't necessarily need a doctor right then and there.
Precisely. If you think about just the sheer volume of those interactions, using AI could really streamline things, free up clinicians for the more complex patient issues.
So it's augmenting care, not replacing people, making the system work a bit smoother.
That's the idea. Better workflow, maybe better patient engagement because of the consistent contact, potentially supporting better outcomes overall.
Yeah, I can see that, especially maybe in places like Japan with, the aging population putting pressure on the system.
That's a very good point. Efficiency gains like this could be really impactful there.
All right, finally, let's talk screening. Making cervical cancer screening easier, less intimidating, perhaps. Teal Health's Teal Wand.
Yes, FDA approved. It's the first at-home self-collection kit specifically for HPV screening, which, is the main risk factor for cervical cancer.
How does it work then? Is it complicated?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You collect a vaginal sample yourself. At home, no speculum involved, which is a big plus for many.
Definitely.
Then you just mail the sample off to a lab.
And the results? Did it work as well as a clinician doing it?
The study they did, over 600 participants, found the accuracy was basically equivalent. Just as good.
Okay, that's key.
But here's the really interesting part. 94% said they prefer doing it themselves at home.
Wow, 94%.
And maybe even more importantly, 86% said having this option would make them more likely to actually get screened regularly, consistently.
That is huge. If you remove barriers like convenience, discomfort, maybe even access issues for some people.
Exactly. Think about people in rural areas or just busy lives.
Yeah, if 86% screen more consistently, that could genuinely lead to fewer cases of cervical cancer being missed, right? Catching things earlier.
That's the potential impact. It really underlines that innovation isn't always about, brand new molecule. Sometimes it's about making prevention easier for people to actually do.
Better access, better uptake.
Absolutely. Empowering people to take that step in their own screening can lead to earlier detection, better outcomes. It saves lives.
So wrapping up our deep dive today, We've seen a really targeted therapy for a tough cancer, AI stepping in to handle patient support tasks in Japan, and a much more user-friendly way to approach vital cancer screening at home.
Yeah, three quite different areas, but all pointing towards healthcare becoming, well, more precise, maybe more efficient, definitely more accessible.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it, considering these kinds of advances?
Yeah.
What other parts of healthcare do you see technology and these kinds of new approaches really shaking up in the near future?
That's the big question, isn't it? Certainly a fascinating space to watch.